this business card is defining who I am. And in that split micro nanosecond of a moment, I realized that I did not want to continue with this company. And I think most importantly was to come face to face and actually admit that the reason why I really started this company and the reason why I was killing myself with work and wanting acknowledgement is because I just wanted my parents to tap me on the shoulder and say, "Oh, Mary, we're so proud of you, even though you didn't finish your degree."
Are you at a crossroads in your career? Ready for a change, but you're not sure how to get there? Don't worry. We are about to produce your best life together. Welcome to the Second Act Success podcast. I am your host, Shannon Russell. I am a former television producer turned boy mom. I left my dream job to find family balance, and in doing so, I produced my dream life. Now I am a business owner, podcaster, and career coach. My mission is to help other women like you find what they are truly meant to be doing. If you are ready to start over in your career or pivot to a new purpose, then get ready to be inspired by stories of women who have done just that. We will share advice and actionable tips to motivate you as you move along on your path. It is time to shine, so let's start producing your balanced life of abundance today. This is Second Act Success. After giving birth to her son, Mary Henderson resigned from a 7-figure business she built from the ground up to find her life's purpose. This epiphany led her to build a new business and become a transformational leader. She is now an internationally recognized personal branding and online business specialist. Mary shares her story with us today. Let's dive in. Hello, Mary. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Shannon. Nice to be here.
Let's talk about your career journey. Where do you want to start?
Oh, my goodness. Well, let me see. I mean, when I left uni, I didn't finish my degree. And I was so I was one of those kids that just wanted to get my hands, dirty. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work. I wanted to see the big world. So my very first job, if you will, started in the media industry. So I worked for a TV network and in the sales and marketing department. I didn't particularly like TV. I didn't like that media industry. It was absolutely not me at all. The only thing I loved about that job is back in those days, we had to count the ratings manually. Okay. There was no AI. There was no Excel spreadsheets. I'm talking now circa 1989, where people used to smoke in the office. Okay. That was like the last year where people were allowed to smoke. Okay. So people were just to think now, I just think, oh my God, just such a different era. And one of my jobs, because everyone hated doing this, was to count that what they call tarps. And it was just to see where we were rating on different shows on a week-on-week basis. Oh my God, Shannon, I used to love it so much because my mind thinks like an algorithm. So I would just put these numbers together and then I would just link them. I was in my element. I used to love it. And people used to say, just get Mary to do it. She loves it. And I was like, yes. So I used to be immersed in this jungle of numbers and pulling them together. And I really, really, really loved it. That was a really profound, experience because it really led me to the path where I really wanted to go. And that was the tech industry. That's when it was booming. It was hot. Everyone wanted to be in there. And it took me a really long time to get into the industry, which was 1999/2000 is when I got my first big break in the tech industry. And by then I had a lot of experience in the media industry and sales. So I didn't have to start my way all the way on the bottom. I sort of worked my way up to then sort of starting that middle management role. But it was there, Shannon, where the sliding door happened to where I am today. Okay. So that was when I had the greatest opportunity of my life. That first job changed the trajectory of my life. It was that first job that is the reason why I do now what I do now. It also was where I came face to face with what personal branding really, really was. I really understood it. I realized that I had this amazing opportunity. I was smart enough to say, if I can solve this problem, I can create a brand in the tech industry and command my demand. It's exactly what I did, Shannon. And the next stage, I actually got headhunted by a multinational from California, a major, major tech company, and they headhunted me because I built my brand so strongly that all tech companies globally actually knew who I was. And so
Wow.
I commanded my demand. I got this amazing opportunity. I quadrupled or five-folded my income, which was just ridiculous, and traveled the world. I built this amazing company with a big, big sales team. I was heading up sales for Asia Pacific. And again, I then took what I did in the previous job with my personal brand and applied that to my entire sales team. So I had a methodology around personal branding back then. And then in 2005, I decided to leave my corporate life and start my own company, which was a software company. I could see that there was a major gap in the academic sector. I didn't know anything about software, but I thought there's an opportunity. I'm just going to go for it, as you do. And so I started my software company. It wasn't what I was meant to do for the rest of my life, but I learned some fundamentals in that job. I had an infrastructure, I had a pretty big team. I won some amazing contracts, but owning a software company and doing what I was not really meant to be doing in this lifetime was an uphill battle. It really, really was. It was a very masculine environment. It was always doing, like the uphill battle. It was always very task driven. And I wasn't really particularly that good at micromanaging all these tech guys who were very difficult people to deal with because most of them are introverts. Now here I am in this, big vision person. You need to find the right people that can buy into your vision. So I had my second son in 2011. And I remember 3 hours after he was born, I reached out to the side of my bed and my business card fell out. And it was just in that moment, Shannon, I was like, oh my God, my whole life has been a series of labels. This business card is defining who I am. And in that split micro nanosecond of a moment, I realized that I, first of all, had to admit that I did not want to continue with this company. And the second thing, and I think most importantly, was to come face to face and actually admit that the reason why I really started this company and the reason why I was killing myself with work and wanting acknowledgement is because I just wanted my parents to tap me on the shoulder and say, oh, Mary, we're so proud of you, even though you didn't finish your degree. So here I am in this moment going, oh my God, I got to get out of here. And I knew that I was going to resign from my own company the day that I left that hospital bed. I did. And then January 2012, I took a 12-month sabbatical. I had the most amazing mentors in that 12 months, one of which was a professor in philosophy at Oxford University. Had 30 years of academic wisdom. And that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to go deep and wide. I wanted to go where I've never been before. I had another mentor who was an expert in the emotional body. And what happened is that it opened me up. It really opened up all of the channels. I was off the hamster wheel, number one. I wasn't competing with the Joneses, number two. Number three, I had the courage to actually give up a lot of stuff that was non-serving, social circles, people that were of no value to my life, and vice versa. I was no value to their life. Credit cards. Like I gave up a lot of stuff that was keeping me busy and occupied. So for the first time in my life, I was naked and looking at myself and going, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? What is my purpose? Seriously, what is my purpose? I've got these two young kids. I don't know where I'm going in life. And the 12-month sabbatical did so much goodness at a soul level because what I realized is all of those experiences that I had from that moment backwards, all of those experiences have now become my vocation. So I packaged all of my knowledge, my wisdom, and my skill set, the things that I can do with ease and grace, with my eyes closed. I packaged that and I asked myself, could I solve a problem with this internal inventory that I own? That's my currency. What can I do with this? And here I am today, Shannon, living the dream.
You're living the dream. Oh my gosh, you've done so much and you're so young. Like, there's just so much to unpack in what you just said. And that you were very self-aware. So you were in media and you realized, okay, this isn't for me. Let me take the skills, let me work on myself here, and then transition into tech. What was so fascinating about the tech world to you?
I think, first of all, just the fact that it's numbers. I'm that self aware even now that if you gave me a problem to solve, I could unpack it and I could reverse engineer the whole thing and say, Shannon, here's how you're going to do it. Right. So
Mhm.
I already knew that I had that skill. Now, I don't know if you remember, but back in the early 2000s, like the 90s, that being in the tech industry was dynamic, and I'm a dynamic person. The other thing is it's agile. I'm an agile person. I had to find something, Shannon, this is very important, that was going to match my personality. Because quite frankly, I was sick and tired, and I still am sick and tired, except now I know how to handle it. But back then, I was tired of people saying, oh, you're too passionate. Oh, you've got to tone it down. Oh, that's not going to work here. Oh, you're just such a big picture person. Not everything that you think is going to turn out for you. You're this, you're that. And I'm like, I can't live like this. Then I started to second guess myself. Is there something wrong with me? Why am I not like everybody else? Why do I just not think like everybody else? Why do I have these big macro visions and I can't handle the small talk? But everyone wants the small talk. The masculine system is all based on that system, where most people are on the hamster wheel, the small talk. Do. Where's the Excel spreadsheet? Hey, 1+1 can only equal 2. It cannot equal 3. What are you thinking? Oh, that vision is so big that will never happen. But I had to find a place where I could fit the feminine system, which is all about my inner soul. Like, my inner soul has a deep yearning, it has a deep desire. Now, I was raised from the age of 5 to 20 having voice coaching from the age of 5. So my voice is professionally trained. I knew when I was 5, all I was going to do was I was going to be a rock star. Like, that was it. 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 20. I was going to be a rock star. My parents were completely against the idea of me, continuing my passion and my dream at the College of Arts. So here is this individual who, in my mind, for the first 15 years of my life, I was just going to be a rock star. But then suddenly I'm showing up all these places believing that I'm just a rock star. It wasn't the rock star as in I'm going to be Madonna rock star. What I meant was that I have a purpose. I have gifts. I'm going to stand on that stage. I'm going to create impact. I know I can do this. That's what I meant. But nobody wanted to buy into that because people were frightened of the fact that I was so clear and confident of what I wanted to be and the impact that I knew I could make. But in those environments, I was not allowed to do that, Shannon.
Ugh. It's like your parents gave you the vocal lessons and then they said, oh, stop. You
Yeah.
can't do that. Oh, that's so frustrating. People are very scared of the confident woman who knows what she wants at a young age. That's scary to people and scary to parents.
Yes.
But you broke through. You became a different type of rock star. You followed your dreams and you followed what you knew in your heart was you.
Absolutely. What I realized is that when we as children have these visions of I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be a rock star, and that's all I knew. So imagine in my 20s, I had no strategies. Hence why I didn't finish my degree. I was doing psychology. Like, really? It's a mismatch. But what I realized in my 30s was hang on a minute. I have been given gifts and talents. My gift is my voice. The talent is singing. So, but I have not lost my gift. So, what am I going to do with the gift? How do I channel that gift in another direction? Because the voice has not been lost. No way. So, the voice has been created for a purpose. That's my greatest gift. It's my greatest asset. So, I'm going to take that and I'm going to do something with it. And in my vocation today, my voice is such a critical part of what I do. Even having these podcast interviews, they're so critical because it gives me the reach to create the impact and, and to really, really, truly send the message that I'm really passionate about, which is all about understanding that your knowledge, your wisdom, your skills, your gifts, and your talents are your true currency. I mean, is that ironic? It's not. Everything I'm doing right now was all divinely orchestrated for me to truly believe in the power of my internal currency. How can I tell others that they have the same and they can even monetize that? So you're absolutely right. It's just really about understanding how to channel those gifts.
Right. And so you're in the tech world, you accomplished that dream, and then it wasn't for you. And then you ended up, when you started your software company, that was you getting your voice out there, starting something that was truly your own. You grew it, and then you realized, this isn't what's going to fulfill me. And you took the courage to resign from your own company. Like, that's an interesting thought in itself. You didn't just close it down, you resigned.
Correct. The next step was that I took that 12-month sabbatical immediately because I needed the circuit breaker. It's the only way I can describe it. I just had to have that circuit breaker to actually understand truly, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And so through that process, that's when I realized, okay, I've got some fundamental skills. I've got some fundamental gifts. I've got some fundamental knowledge and some wisdom. What am I going to do with it, Shannon? What do I just call it, a sheer memory of my past? No way. That's currency. So I started unpacking it. And then I started to ask myself, but where do all these skills fit? Like, seriously, where do they fit? The first thing I did is, okay, I understand how to turn people into brands. So I know how to do that. But how do I do it?
Hey, it's Shannon. If you are enjoying this podcast, then you will love my weekly newsletter. It's full of career advice, productivity tips, and of course, inspiring stories of women who have launched a new career that they love. Just go to secondactsuccess.co to sign up. Plus, you'll get the My Success Vision Board to help you with your 2023 planning as well. Now it's back to the episode.
Let me unpack that process, my thought process, and let me build an entire algorithm around it. Step 1. Step 2, I understand sales. I'm, the sales queen. I know sales, but I know sales from a heart standpoint, from a relationship standpoint. I know how to create a signature in my sales process. I know how to create experiences with customers when I'm selling. And so how do I do that? Again, unpack that process. Oh, hang on a minute. I also know how to actually create systems. So how do I turn all of this information into an actual system? Now I've got these 3 fundamental disciplines that I need to merge together. And when I did that, it took me 3 years to design my entire system that I have today, and supported with frameworks. And I knew that I could serve entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants, or people that wanted to become coaches and consultants, in particularly people who have transitioned out of corporate and want to go down that path, or alternatively, people that already have started their business and they're not going anywhere because they don't have systems in place. So I put my system together, and that's been my vocation since 2015, and it's just evolved from there. But the personal branding part for me is really interesting because not only has it evolved in frameworks, but we've actually built an entire software so that when my clients work with me, they log in and it extracts all of the genius inside of them in the form of reports. So when I'm working with them, I'm working with the truth. That information is who Shannon is, and Shannon cannot be anyone else but that. That's it. And then when you work with the truth, you can create magic with that.
Wow. Mary, this is so incredible because you're basing your current business on what you learned from all the skills in your past. I always like to say that you can change jobs, you can change and start something new, but those skills stay with you. You are still that same person you were at 20. You are taking those skills with you. So you were working on your voice since you were 5 years old, and you're using it now to help others.
Massively on a huge scale. Who would have thought that 80% of my clients are based out in the US? Like, really? And I teach exactly this. I don't want to be anyone else, Shannon. I want to be Mary. I love
Mhm.
Mary. I love the skills, the knowledge, the wisdom, my gifts, my talents, my quirkiness. I love every aspect that makes up who I am because nobody has my soul print. Nobody has my soul print. Nobody has your soul print. So what do I do with that soul print, Shannon? Do I just, say, oh, that's just a sheer memory, those 7 years? And that's what people do. The majority of people, oh, that was just a job back in 1995. Oh, I did that for 10 years. Oh, so glad I'm out of it. I'm like, oh my God, do you actually realize that there's a gold mine there? Let's go there. And so I think it's very important to look at your experience as your internal inventory, which truly is a currency. That's to me the real currency.
I love that you call it currency. That I've never heard anyone say that before, and it's really true because there's value in everything in your life that's led you up to this point. So tell us about the business and really what you do with your clients right now.
My program is called Lights, Cameras, Action. And the way that the logo is to start off with, the words are lined up. In the middle, it actually says, I am on. How beautiful is that? It's just so amazing.
Beautiful.
I know, because that's exactly what it is. So I take people on a journey. And it's not just about building their business, but it's actually about self actualization. What I've done really well, Shannon, is I've merged the masculine system, the doing, and the feminine system, and that's the being. Because let me just walk you through very high level the macro process and how it cannot manifest into anything other than a business which has a dead end at some point. So when I start working with people, we start with the personal branding. We build that foundation. Who are you as a brand? What is your persona? What is your look and feel? What is your brand story? What is your signature? These attributes need to be unpacked because they form the underlying foundation. But it doesn't just form a foundation, it's where we pull the messaging from. So all of the messaging that you see on my social media, it all comes from that foundation. It all starts from that foundation. And then we go down to the next part, which is systemizing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your skill. So if you've got 20,000 hours dedicated to a specialization or a career with multiple disciplines, I want that inventory. To me, it's like me, like a kid walking into a toy store. The more inventory I have, my eyes pop out. And this is why I work with people that only have a minimum of 10,000 hours dedicated to their careers or their specialization, because it's very hard to create a brand from thin air. You just can't do it. So the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of those Instagram influencers, that's not my tribe at all. I work with mature people who have had amazing careers and they're on another trajectory. So systemizing all of that inventory, is not easy because you've got to create it you have to organize the data first of all. And second of all, it has to convert to a solution. So that solution typically looks like an online program. It could be if they're working in the corporate sector, it's creating workbooks so that they can go in and sell it as a workshop or one-to-one coaching and mentoring, etc. So that's the systemization part. The third part is the digitization. Now, this is very important. The digitization is all of your public facing. Think of it like your customer service. You've got your website, you've got all of the digital assets, but the purpose of the digital asset is to create ecstatic brand experiences. So every touch point, when people touch my website or Facebook or they go to LinkedIn or they watch a masterclass, my goal always is how am I going to give that prospect an ecstatic Mary Henderson brand experience? That's all I care about. I don't care about, am I going to sell to them? It's all about the brand experience, because if I become top of mind, you're never going to forget me. But better still, you're probably going to tell another 5 other people, right? So then the fourth part is the commercialization. And this is where I teach a layered lead generation strategy. I am an organic queen. I love organic lead generation. I do paid for my content only on Facebook. Everything I do is all organic, but it's layered. And the reason it's layered is because I always say to my clients, you have to be omnipresent in the eyes of your target audience only, not to 7.5 billion people, just to your target audience. Layered lead generation strategy is fundamental. Now you've got this system. You've implemented all of the moving parts, all of the frameworks have been realized and implemented as your own. You've got your website, you've got your program, you've got all of your digital assets in place. You're now on social media, you're on podcast interviews. Amazing. how do we embody that version of you now? Because that's the next phase. That's the next part of the process. Most people will stop at lead generation. And what do, Shannon? They're on social media and they're grinding and they're hustling hard because they've been told if you hustle, you'll be successful. And then what happens is that they hit a brick wall and it's finished. I don't end it there. I say, okay, now we've done the masculine. You're ready to go live. Go and launch. While you're launching, now we have to embody that version of you. You have to self-actualize your inner potential because we can't amplify your reach and the impact that you want to make. So if you want impact, we have to embody this version of you. We have to self-actualize the truest version of you, which we've already started in the personal branding part. But if along the way you have blocks and limitations and you've got bad habits and behavior issues and you come from a place of shame or rejection or lack or scarcity, what happens is that then they start hustling, and they start to self-isolate. When you self-isolate, you are away from the world, and the universe says, Mary wants to be on her own, so we won't bring any clients to her because she just wants to be on her own. So this is where the brick wall happens, and they just end up giving up because it's not working. But the embodiment of I need to become that now and self-actualize my truest potential so I can co-create with other people and expand my wings to reach as many people as I can to help me not just build my brand, but also get my message out there so that I can amplify and create impact. So we've got the masculine, which is the doing, and then we must have the feminine, which is the being. And that's my program.
It sounds fantastic. So you are in a place where you're fully using all of your talents. And are you the happiest you've ever been?
Oh my God, Shannon. I don't even have a job. Like, I actually don't have a job. I don't, when people say to me, oh, you work so hard, I'm like, I actually don't work. Sorry, you're using the wrong language with me. I am doing what I'm meant to be doing. And all I'm doing, you said it beautifully, I'm just using the gifts that I've been given and I'm utilizing them at the highest degree, because when you do that, you aren't working. You are on purpose. That's what purpose is. When you're actually utilizing the knowledge, your skills, your wisdom, your gifts, your talents, when you are in your natural state of being and you can do what you do with ease and grace, you're in your purpose.
So if our listeners are listening and they want to know, well, okay, where do I start to figure out what skills I've had over my career journey to find my purpose? What would you tell them? Just, small, simple first steps.
Well, if you're an Excel spreadsheet person, get the Excel spreadsheet out and just write on the header, these are all the things that I can do. Doesn't matter what it is. If you are a brilliant cook, there's skill in that. Okay, so you have to write everything out that you can do with ease and grace. Ask yourself, what advice do people come to me for? What do people always compliment me on? Oh my God, Shannon, you're so good at that. How do you do that? Because I've been a producer for most of my career, so it's really easy for me to just copy and paste and stitch things together. And oh yeah, I can do that with ease and grace. Of course you can do it with ease and grace because that's a part of your DNA now. That experience is a part of your DNA. So get out the Excel spreadsheet, write down all the things that you could do with ease and grace, and then start to look at each individual moving part as a solution to a problem, a micro solution. How do you solve that problem? If you're a podcast host like you, Shannon, and all the other things that you do, how do you actually become a brilliant podcast host? What are the movements involved in what you do in order to make it the success that it is? How do you actually do it? That's what people want. They want the how-to. They don't want the conversation. Just show me how to do it. And this, for me, I think is very important, because if you approach your vocation from that standpoint, not only is it really easy to articulate what you do, but then you're using the skills and the knowledge that are very easy to you, and you can provide a genuine outcome-driven solution. You're not having to read 5 books and go, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You can already do it. And so whenever there's a reason that you have to reach out and do more research as part of your solution, that's a red flag immediately. It's like, that's not your natural state. You're learning that and pretending that that's your natural state. It's not your natural state. Let's just stick to your core. The other thing is that I will say, so many people think that they have to jam pack their solution with stuff. If I've got more lessons and if I've got more moving parts, I can sell it for more and people will believe me. I'm going to tell you this. The more simple, the more money you can command. I know it's ironic, but the more simple your solution, the quicker you can get someone to their destination, the higher and the more premium your solution is. It's just as simple as that. And so if you're like me and you have some core disciplines where you've dedicated thousands and thousands of hours, it is a part of your DNA, then that's a much bigger solution. And not all of your skill set, not all of your knowledge, and not all of your passions and hobbies are going to form this one solution. We have to look at that Excel spreadsheet or post-it notes on your wall, however you like to work, and then look at it pragmatically and ask ourselves, realistically, based on all of these moving parts, what is the one problem that I really can solve? And you start from that point, because we don't have to solve 40,000 problems to, charge premium pricing. We can solve just one problem. That's all people will want to know you for, and become a specialist in that one problem that you can solve. And that's the mindset. It's becoming a specialist. When you're a specialist, you're not looking for a niche. You don't have to look for a niche. You already know how to solve the problem, period. That's it. There's nothing more to do. So that would be my advice.
That's excellent advice. And if listeners know what their skill is, they know that they want to work towards being a coach, they want to work towards utilizing all of their talents. And if they wanted to come to you and work with you, you would show them how to take all of these skills,
Yes.
form a brand, and just kind of accelerate what they have, their idea that they already have. You can package it together for them.
That's exactly right. So people come to me with all the inventory, and when they finish with me, they have a fully fledged business ready for monetization. That's basically that's it. So they come raw and they leave like on brand. They're transformed, completely transformed. I also believe in co-creation. So when people work with me, I'm extremely accessible, and my approach is very much to do it with you. To me, co-creation is where the magic is. You and I together, think about this. You know 5 people, I know 5 people. You're going to start talking about what you're doing with those 5 people. Likewise with me. So now we've got 10 people. Those 10 people know another 5 people. Now we've got 50 people. So the resonant field just keeps expanding, and that's how we draw from that. We draw opportunities from that resonant field. And this is why, again, just one more point, Shannon, if I may. This is why when I'm working with my clients, I cannot tell you how important it is when I'm doing my coaching to educate my clients on the importance of not just taking on any client. You must take on the right client. So because that becomes a part of your resonant field. If you take on anybody that's not right for your business and is not the right client that qualifies, not only will you attract the client from hell, but that resonant field breaks, it cracks, and it gets flawed and it becomes toxic. I would never take on a client that I didn't believe I couldn't serve.
Well, that's great to hear, and that you're one-on-one. And you also are an author, and you have several books. And one title I wrote down because I thought it was brilliant is I Have a Dream. Who are you if you walked away from a life that you have always known?
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's power. That's just a powerful thought to sit and ponder, like what that really means.
Oh my God, exactly. I mean, and also just on those books, they were this is just so amazing that you're bringing it up, because I just even forget about that. I wrote 11 books in that 12-month sabbatical.
Wow, really?
Yes. That was how I just took everything that was blocking me inside. I just wrote fiction books after fiction, but I've got some nonfiction as well. But the fiction books were just all about getting it out of me. And it was so, so cathartic. Yeah, it was actually quite interesting. 11 books, Shannon, in that 1-year period.
I believe it. I can just believe that you could do that. I don't think you sleep. I think your energy is just full blast all the time. It's fantastic.
You're true. I was up at 2 o'clock this morning. I had a call, and then one of my clients sent me a message, and I'm like, okay, well, while I'm up, I might as well just do it. So I did a really little recording for her. Then I go to bed, and now I'm up, with you. I actually feel like, okay, I'm ready for the day.
Good. All right, it's time for our 5 fast cues of the week. Here we go. Name one thing that these different chapters in your life have taught you.
That my internal inventory is truly my currency.
Would you recommend taking a leap into a big life change to your best friend?
Probably not. No, I don't recommend.
What is one piece of advice that you can give to someone who is about to start their second act?
I would say, first of all, get yourself a mentor. I cannot stress that enough. Get yourself a mentor or a coach that can really help guide you, because if you just focus on doing it on your own, all you're doing is you're going from one masculine system to another masculine system. You're going to hustle yourself into the ground. Get someone who can hold you accountable and show you the way.
So what does the next chapter look like for you, Mary?
I just think for me right now, all I keep saying to people is impact, impact, impact. It's all I think about. I couldn't think of a better time in the world where I could actually show up on a much bigger scale and show women, especially, stop playing small. Stop pretending that your life experience is just a sheer memory. No, we've got to stop this nonsense. We have to understand how to package it, put it together, and go and serve on a big scale as well. I'm not exclusive, neither are you, Shannon. We are just 2 women that just got our shit together, and we just decided to do something with it. So I want to show women especially how to do that.
I got the chills. So tell me, where can my audience connect with you?
Please email me, mary@maryhendersoncoaching.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Mary Henderson Coaching with a pink circle around my face. You can connect with me on my personal Facebook page, Mary Henderson Coaching, Instagram, Mary Henderson Coaching, and also my website, maryhendersoncoaching.com.
Mary, this was the most wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom and advice, and I loved learning about your path. So thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you very much for having me.
Mary's multiple business successes are incredible. I love all that she shared with us, and I hope that you learned a little about what we can manifest when we turn inwards and ask ourselves what we really need and what we really want out of life. To connect with Mary, go to maryhendersoncoaching.com, and you'll find links to all of the info in the show notes of this episode below. Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you today, my friend. I will be back again soon with a new episode of the Second Act Success podcast. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found some gems of inspiration and some takeaways to help you on your path to Second Act Success. To view show notes from this episode, visit secondactsuccess.co. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. Reviews only take a few moments, and they really do mean so much. Thank you again for listening. I'm Shannon Russell, and this is Second Act Success.